The air inside the abandoned penitentiary was thick with the weight of history, a heavy, oppressive stillness that seemed to press down on every step, every breath. The crumbling walls, once confining hardened criminals, now imprisoned only the echoes of the past, whispers of long-forgotten voices seeping through cracks in the stone. It was the kind of place where the dead far outnumbered the living, a forgotten relic where time itself felt distorted, stretched thin between the real and the supernatural. For Josh Fletch and his friends, the penitentiary was the perfect destination for an eerie exploration, a place infamous for its hauntings, where stories of restless spirits and shadowy figures had been told for years. But as they ventured deeper into the bowels of the prison, none of them could have anticipated the terror that awaited. Josh had always been the brave one, the first to push boundaries and test limits. His friends followed closely behind as they wandered through the dimly lit corridors, their flashlights casting long, wavering shadows on the rusted bars and peeling walls. There was something unsettling about the cells, row upon row of them standing like silent sentinels, each one a dark pit where despair had festered and grown for decades. Yet nothing seemed out of the ordinary until Josh decided to explore the upper level alone. It was a decision made on impulse, a desire to capture more footage, to dig deeper into the heart of the penitentiary's mysteries. But sometimes, it is in the pursuit of the unknown that we find ourselves confronted with something we were never meant to see. With no stairs left standing, Josh climbed his way up to the second floor, his movements cautious but steady, the camera in his hand catching every shift in the darkened space around him. The cells above felt different, colder, more isolated, as though they existed on a different plane from the rest of the building. He could feel it, a creeping sensation in the pit of his stomach, as if he were being watched. But there was no one there. Or so he thought. It was when he reached the last cell that the atmosphere changed. The silence, which had been merely oppressive before, now felt suffocating, a void that seemed to swallow all sound, all light. And then he saw it. Inside the cell, just beyond the bars, stood a silhouette. At first, it seemed human, the vague outline of a figure standing unnaturally still in the gloom. But something about it was wrong. The figure wasn't moving, wasn't breathing, wasn't anything that should have been there. Josh's heart raced, his pulse pounding in his ears as he strained to make out any details, but the darkness clung to the figure like a shroud, refusing to reveal what lay beneath. Fear surged through him, sharp and cold. He backed away instinctively, the weight of the camera suddenly heavy in his hands. What was it? Was it a trick of the light? A shadow cast by something he couldn't see? Or was it something far more sinister? Josh's mind raced with possibilities, but none of them made sense. All he knew was that whatever was standing in that cell wasn't supposed to be there, and it was watching him. His friends, unaware of the figure, remained below, their voices distant and muffled through the decaying structure. Josh didn't call out to them, didn't move, frozen in a moment of paralyzing dread. The figure remained still, silent, its presence filling the cell like a dark, malevolent force. It wasn't until the weight of his fear became too much to bear that Josh finally turned and fled, scrambling down from the upper level, his breath ragged, his mind struggling to comprehend what he had just seen. Later, when he and his friends reviewed the footage, they all saw it. The shadowy figure standing in the cell, a dark form that seemed to absorb the light around it. They played the video over and over, trying to rationalize what they had captured, but no one had an explanation. Was it the ghost of an inmate lingering in the place where he had spent his final days? Or was it something else? Something darker that had taken root in the penitentiary's walls, feeding on the fear of those who dared to enter? Theories swirled among them, but none could shake the feeling that what Josh had encountered was something paranormal. The penitentiary had always been known for its hauntings, its long history of violence and despair, giving rise to countless tales of ghosts trapped between this world and the next. But knowing the stories didn't make the experience any less terrifying. For Josh, the memory of that shadowy figure would linger far longer than any story ever could. It was a reminder that some places, some moments, carry a weight that cannot be explained or understood. And in that dark, decaying cell, Josh had come face to face with something that should not have been, and perhaps still wasn't, fully gone.